Ladies, gentlemen, everybody else, welcome to How to Juggle Clubs Part 3. Today we're going to be talking about chops. Now, a chop is a movement inside a cascade. So when you're normal juggling pattern, you have a little bit of time with one hand while the other hand is doing its throw catch, and in that time you move the prop around, in this case a club. This is called a standard chop or an inside chop. It's the most common one, it's the one people learn first, and we're going to start with it. So the basic movement is this. You're bringing the club round in an arc over the top and into the middle of the pattern before throwing it to the other hand. It's a bit like the opposite of the arc you use when you're juggling normally a cascade, but it's more exaggerated. From the side you can really see it as a chop down and through. Now, chops can be confusing to learn and to watch, so when you're starting, just start with one club at a time, chopping on both sides, before you move to chopping with every single throw, otherwise known as continuous chops. Okay, so in the snowball, there's a few interesting things to note. One is, look at where I'm looking. Here I'm looking at the red club, but before it lands, I transfer and look at the yellow club, and then again transfer back before I catch. Once I've seen where the top of the throw is, I know where the club is going to land and I don't need to look at it anymore. So I transfer my attention to the next club. From the side, it looks like this. One at a time, you can see it arcing around and through. And now when you go into continuous chops from the side, it looks really cool. It looks like they're swapping out. Let's see. So it looks almost like you've swapped clubs in the middle. It's just a visual illusion there. The way this works, we can see in the slow-mo, as the club comes down, it goes parallel with the club that's just being caught. Just for a second, they both hit parallel together. That's a really good example there. This one, not quite so good. That parallel conjunction of the clubs is what causes the visual effect. I'm going to give you a quick shot over the shoulder now so you can see it from the juggler's perspective. We see that the club whips straight past the face. And although it looks busy, you actually have more time than you think. The key with any chop is to move the club as soon as you catch it. So as soon as the red club enters my hand, it's immediately in motion, travelling around past my face and down into the pattern before being thrown again. All chops work like this. With a continuous slow-mo, you can see each hand grabs and moves and grabs and moves. You really want to have your basic cascade nice and solid so you don't have to think about it too much, but you will find that it falls apart as soon as you start doing continuous chops, and you'll have to almost relearn how to juggle with this movement. And that's it, standard chop. And really good to use, looks great on fire. Let's move on. Outside chops work the same, but it's a different motion with a club. Let's start with one club. So in this case, instead of going forward and down, we're actually going to swing the club backwards and then back into place. Now when you're swinging the club, it's good to use what's called like a ball and socket grip. So I let the club hang back, and then the knob of the club, it fits in the circle made of my thumb and my first finger, and then rotates around like that, as you can see in this picture. I'll show you from the other side as well. So from here you see we let go of the club a little bit, it falls back, it's caught in the crook of my thumb, and swings around from there. And that's how you get a really nice circle for your outward chops. So with more clubs now, we'll do the red club again. That's 1, 2, and 3. And you can see as it swings around, it kind of develops its own momentum to come into the pattern. The difficult thing is maybe keeping this momentum right so that it doesn't fly too far once you get it going on. Nice, from the front doesn't really look as good. Let's have a little go. So yeah, it's a sort of slightly waggly, doesn't seem to have much point. So from the front, I would say this is not such a good trick, but you know, any differences are good. In the slow-mo then, you can clearly see we're catching the handle but then letting it slip back into this ball and socket grip on both sides, and it comes round and makes a nice arc. Don't worry if your arcs look a bit untidy, they are difficult to get looking nice. It just takes a bit of practice. Like I said before, if you learn some club swinging, and if enough people are interested, we'll do some club swinging videos on this channel later. That really helps. And there you go, those are the outside chops. The third type are Thru-Chops. These are a bit different from the others because, as far as I know, you can't do them continuously. You can't do them every single hand all the time. Though if anyone can show me a video of that, I will send them a prize. So the idea of this is the chop moves through the juggling pattern underneath the clubs. It's a little bit more difficult, but the same principles apply. As soon as you grab the club, you swing it directly through the pattern and to the outside of your arm. And then when you catch it, there we go, just comes down normal. So if we wait for slow Tom here to catch the red club, he's going to catch it, move it, express straight through the pattern on a flat plane, and then throw it beside him. Just like that. From over the shoulder, it looks like this. Straight through. And it kind of looks like there is no space for it, but obviously there is, as long as you move it immediately. So here we go, grab and shift while the other club is in the air. And that's the Thru-Chop, a very satisfying trick to know, but maybe one more for the jugglers than for performers. The last chop we're going to look at today is known as a head chop, or an axe chop, or an idiot chop, and it's pretty easy to see why. Basically, you're just going to smack yourself in the head. People love to see this. There's nothing like a juggler injuring themselves to really brighten up someone's day, especially acrobats. So, it's very simple, just pull it out of the pattern, smack yourself in the head and put it back where it came from. There's not really much more to say than that, except that it's really good to actually hit yourself in the head because you get a nice solid clonk and it sounds better. Let's have a little look at the slow-mo here. Yep, just grab it, move it up. Now, I'm not really worried about hitting myself in the head. I can find my own head pretty easily, so my attention is always focused on the club that's actually flying in the air. Now, I've got some slow-mo from the front for you in case you're still having difficulty hitting yourself in the face. You might find that the pattern that you normally juggle gets a bit tighter. It doesn't have its normal open thing. This is fine though, because actually you want to keep that open outside space for moving the clubs around. Whatever you do, do not do head chops on fire. It's a really bad idea. Well, okay, but at least wear a hat. And that's it for this video. There are of course loads more chops. A chop can be any movement of the club, so please think up your own and share them with us in the comments below. Our next video is going to be on the world of doubles. It's a very basic trick, but surprisingly difficult, so we'll be going through different ways to use it and different drills for making them better. I hope you can join us for that. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, as we've got loads more content coming up. More tutorials for poi, staff, contact juggling and other fire arts, and interviews and news from the circus world. Thank you so much for watching, and catch you on the next one.